I've always been interested in television and the way that content is presented. How certain shows fit together in programming blocks, or the difference between late night and daytime talk shows. While the way we consume television has changed, there exists a relic of the time before PVRs and video on demand. A digest magazine called TV Guide.
And these TV guides, so many memories.
I think with the advent of electronic programming guides used by satellite and cable providers, TV Guide is pretty redundant, though I was shocked to learn that it is still being printed to this day. It was a staple in my home up into the late 90s, and about a year ago I began collecting them, with the oldest issue being from 1973.
You see the year 1973 just flashing briefly. When it hits there, you can bet your bottom dollar it'll be pandemonium.
The occupation of Wounded Knee ended yesterday.
The oil-producing countries of the Arab world decided to use their oil as a political weapon. Elliot Richardson has quit, saying he cannot carry out Mr. Nixon's instructions.
Frazier is down for the 5th time in this fight.
In a landmark ruling, the Supreme Court today legalized abortions.
This is the bank in Stockholm where the robber has barricaded himself. He is equipped with a machine gun, and he has several people as ransom there.
In the next couple of days, today and tomorrow, he's going to show us. He's God. Today and tomorrow, he's God.
Well, I'm not a crook.
So TV Guide always followed a format. It was a feature or cover story followed by the television listings. The feature was the same everywhere, though the listings varied by region. I was pretty excited to get this version because this is from Toronto, this is my home region, and the fall preview was possibly the biggest issue they put out yearly. Networks typically debut their biggest shows in the fall. This is a practice dating back to the days of radio, and I'm sure this was many people's introduction to a lot of classic shows.
Who's the black private dick that's a sex machine to all the chicks?
Look, Pussycat.
We have an excellent show tonight.
In the great hall of the Justice League.
As we play the 1973 edition of Match Game.
I think one of the most interesting things about old literature like this, and why I'm into flyers and manuals and magazines from the past, is that they offer this window into the everyday experience of the times, with its ignorance and its quaint innocence. These were printed on very cheap paper, they were thought disposable, they weren't supposed to be read 50 years later. And yet a great deal of care has been put into these. There are these hand drawings that really serve no other purpose than to add a little bit of character to the headings. I mean, you just don't see this today.
Today they found the bodies of at least 3 young boys buried under his house.
He is Theodore Bundy, and he's jailed in Florida.
Seen as concern over the national movement to restrict the rights of homosexuals.
A pope has been elected.
If we can't live in peace, then let us die in peace.
People, 1 million Iranians in the street for the Ayatollah Khomeini.
Very large, very strong storm.
Canadians win their 3rd Stanley Cup in a row.
Here we have the 1978 fall preview. Essentially, it's the same as the 1973 edition. This too is from Toronto, as you can see. I love the optimism in these previews. The way that networks get behind shows not knowing whether or not they're going to be successful. I mean, for every taxi, I'm sure there's 5 Grandpa Goes to Washingtons, and yet each show is presented as equal. Every one of them a possible hit, or maybe a misstep that'll haunt the network for years.
Those who believe that life here began out there, far across the universe, with tribes of humans.
Nanu.
Sex escort. Hey, right, that's where she comes.
My fellow Americans, today our armed forces joined our NATO allies in airstrikes against Serbian forces.
Look at the debris. Look at all the debris. Look at all the debris in the air.
It's gone. The neighborhood is gone.
And the Coast Guard searching for the plane of John F. Kennedy Jr.
The President of the United States is not guilty as charged in the second article of impeachment.
You believe it's this boy?
Shooting did begin outside the school.
We've spent 30 to 40 years building this computerized system.
If you want me to beat Vince McMahon's ass all night long, give me a hell yeah.
It's unlikely wrestling will ever be as popular as it was in the late 90s. Amping up the sex and violence had pushed the boundaries of what you could show on television. This kind of edginess was everywhere in 1999. That spring, TV Guide capitalized on this by featuring 4 of wrestling's biggest stars on a series of collectible covers. I grew up during this period, and while I was familiar with the shows featured in the other 2 issues, I remember firsthand everything in this one. Now, despite having different covers, the content is the same in all of them. Wrestling's obviously the main focus, it being the weekend of WrestleMania, but there are several other features including a gossip column, horoscopes, commentary, and news from the world of television. Another big difference in the 1999 edition is that it runs on a 24-hour schedule, and now includes the cable listings, parental advisory ratings, and critical ratings.
From 30th Century Fox, hurtles 1,000 years into the future, one man discovers everything he's dreamed of.
Tourist.
The adventure.
Are you interested in becoming my new crew?
Or what happened to the old crew?
Oh, those poor sons of...
The romance.
Strip naked and get on the probulator.
The danger.
We have you partially surrounded.
From the creator of The Simpsons, Futurama, premiering tonight after The Simpsons on Fox.
Would you rather have kissed your sister, me or Chandler?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I've turned my parents' vehicle into more than just a vehicle. I've turned it into the Slutmobile.
Everybody wants a girl like Simpsons. Cincinnati WKRP.
Maybe this nostalgia makes sense to you, or maybe it doesn't. Me? I can read these old TV guides as if they were novels. I see the listings as stories, the ads as symptoms of the times. Flipping through these, I can't not see Nixon, Jonestown, The Phantom Menace. The television was so many people's window to the world, and in TV Guide we have the record, the when. We know not only the exact timing, but the path of countless shared experiences, when millions of people were observing the same images at the same time, yet creating their own unique memories.